So recently, Hammerheart Metal Reviews did another video. He asked us to do a thread response. These are 10 bands that went out on a high note. Basically, the last album of a band that has either definitively broken up, or in my case, they're going to be bands that where it's highly probable they won't be releasing anything else. Hammerheart is a metal channel. He does mostly heavy metal, black metal, death metal, power metal. But since I'm more of a metal and rock channel, I'll be doing alternative rock, grunge, metal, and mostly stuff from the 90s. This was actually harder than I thought it would be since, when I commented on his video, I said I would do a response, and so I'm going to do it. So here's 10 different bands. So let me just get right into it. So my first one I came up with was In Utero by Nirvana. That was because Kurt Cobain killed himself in 1994. So therefore, the band was done at that time. I could have gone with the MTV Unplugged in New York album. That's a really great album, but I'm going with this one since it's the studio album. This one is really good. I think they were a little more experimental than Nevermind. They mixed in some like noise rock, did some different stuff. Lots of great songs. Heart Shaped Box was a great song. All Apologies, Penny Royalty. For some of the deeper cuts, I think Dumb and Serve the Servants are really good. I really like this album, and it's a great way to go out. Next, sticking with grunge, I have Soundgarden with King Animal. This one came out November 13th, 2012. Really big gap between the last two albums, which was Down on the Upside in 1996. And it's a solid album. I think it kind of follows that similar sound with Down on the Upside. Really great album. And this has lots of great songs. I've Been Away for Too Long. I love that one. My Crooked Steps, another great one. And the album ends with a really great song called Rowing. Very uplifting song. The lyrics are kind of repetitive, but it's just a really good song. Chris Cornell singing, don't know where I'm going, just keep on rowing, just keep on pulling, and gotta row. Really love that one. It's a great way to close out the album. Supposedly Soundgarden did some recordings before Chris Cornell killed himself, and they may or may not be released, but for that reason, I have them on this list. Next, I'm going with Rage Against the Machine with the Battle of Los Angeles. So this is a band I used to listen to a lot. It's their third album. They do have a fourth album called Renegades, but that's a covers album, so I didn't really include that one. This is the last one with all original songs. Really good album, really good first side. It has Testify, Guerrilla Radio, Calm Like a Bomb. Tom Morello just plays these really great guitar riffs on this album. A cool deep cut called Maria, about a woman being smuggled across the Mexican border. And this is just a great album. This band has reformed. They're currently touring. I don't think they will release another album, but it's possible. And I know this band has had like different incarnations, like Audio Slave and Prophets of Rage. But that's it. I'm going with the Rage Against the Machine. Next, I have System of a Down with Hypnotize. And they had two albums released in 2005, and I think they were like 6 months apart. So it was, this was the one released like the last, so it was November 2005. And it's a different type of album. They do some different stuff. Favorite songs, Vicinity of Obscenity, Lonely Day. Really great ones. Soldier Side, that's the last track. Now this band, I think they're still touring a little bit, and they did release two singles in 2020, but according to the band, they don't have any plans of releasing any more albums. So that's why I included it. And this is just one of my favorite bands ever. Next, I have Pantera with Reinventing the Steel. This was released on March 21st, 2000, and we can probably all agree this is probably like the last Pantera album. I know there's a whole big thing with them, like reuniting the tribute tour and all that. But I really doubt there will be another Pantera album. And if there is, I don't think it would be under the name Pantera. And this is a really good album. The first side is just really great. Yesterday Don't Mean Shit, Revolution Is My Name. And the last song, I'll Cast a Shadow, kind of like a prophetic song because they're talking about the influence Pantera has had on just the music world in general. This is more of a straightforward album, kind of like Cowboys from Hell. I think their two previous albums, Great Southern Tranquil and Far Beyond Driven, they kind of went in a little direction, experimented a little more, tried to be like a little heavier, but I think this is just a very consistent, just heavy metal and groove metal album. Just very solid. Next, I have Typo Negative with Dead Again. This album was released on March 13th, 2007. It was the last album due to the death of Pete Steele in 2010. This is a band I haven't talked about much on this channel. They play a mix of doom metal and gothic metal. This album is pretty consistent. So we had the song September Sun, and they incorporate some like piano music into the sound. Halloween in Heaven, a tribute to Dimebag Darrell. That song's really good. It has some female vocals. And the album cover is really cool. It's a photo of the Russian mystic. His name is Rasputin. And this album has a sound, mixes like that slow guitar riffs. They have on occasion they get like have some faster songs with these like almost like punk rock types of songs. Pete Steele, he has this like really unique voice, and he was never replaced. I don't think they could replace him. Like I think he's just like a one of a kind singer. So on this album, the guitarist Kenny Hickey, he does backing vocals and also co-lead on a few tracks. And there are a few other songs like She Burned Me Down, and that one's maybe similar to like some of their earlier albums. So this is just a well-rounded album, really good. Next I have Metal Church with Damned If You Do. This is another album that it's probably their last one, but it's not definitive whether or not the band will continue. So if you don't know, Mike Howe passed away in 2021. And the previous singer, David Wayne, he passed away back in 2005. They had one other singer called Ronnie Monroe. And there were rumors of him coming back, but it seems like he won't be coming back. But this album, Damned If You Do, really good. It's returned to their older sound, like The Human Factor and Blessing in Disguise. This has lots of great songs. The title track, Damned If You Do, The Black Things, Into the Fold. It's a very straightforward heavy metal album. Sometimes they call this band like thrash or American power metal, but I think it's just straightforward heavy metal and probably their last album. Next, I have SOD, Bigger Than the Devil. Now, I'm going with this band, Stormtroopers of Death. And I know they released another album called Rising Infidels in 2007, but that was kind of a compilation. I think it was technically an EP, but I'm going with this one. And I think it had just really great songs. The album cover is cool. It's a parody of Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast. And they are a crossover thrash band and almost like grindcore because they have 25 songs with a 40-minute runtime. And they're just like really thrashy songs. Some are very like chunky, those like chunky distorted riffs. Some are very heavy. It's a really great band. There was another band called MOD, a Method of Destruction with Billy Milano. That's a similar band, but this band, SOD, we had Scott Ian on guitars. It was kind of like started as like a side project to Anthrax. The first album, Speak English or Die, was, that was their best one, but this one's very good. Probably my favorite track, and it's actually kind of funny. It's called Celtic Frosted Flakes. It kind of like pokes fun at the band, Celtic Frost. So that's a cool one. Next, I'm going with KYUSS and the Circus Leaves Town. This is a stoner rock band or called stoner metal. So I think after this band broke up, guitarist Josh Homme, he created Queens of Stone Age. It's really cool music. They influence a lot of stoner metal bands. It's kind of a long album because the last song is called Spaceship Landing, and it's like 34 minutes, but it's kind of like one song and then some silence, then like two more hidden tracks like later on. But they are an underrated band. They're influenced by Black Sabbath. They have that like doom metal or sludge metal, but they have this really like thick, like bottom end or bass sound, and that kind of makes them stand out in the crowd. So it's a great album. And my last one is going to be White Zombie with Astro Creep 2000. Now this one, Rob Zombie went solo right afterwards, and those albums are very similar to like this band, White Zombie, but I'm going with this, released on April 11th, 1995. It has a really long title, Astro Creep 2000, Songs of Love and Destruction and Other Synthetic Delusions of Supercharger. I don't know, I lost my train. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, cool mixture of groove metal and industrial metal. Just lots of great songs. We got Supercharger Heaven, More Human Than Human. And these are all based on like B movies, sci-fi movies, horror movies, cult films, and It's just a fun band. They actually have another album out that was put out a year later called Super Sexy Swinging Sounds, but that was our remix album. So I didn't go with that one. I went with this, and that's it. I'm going to end this video here. So if anyone wants to continue this thread, I'll go ahead. It's actually harder than I thought it would be. But I know there are other channels, they probably know some of those more like obscure metal bands or, darker or heavier stuff. So if you want to make a video, go for it. That's all. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.